It is Sunday the 1st of November 2020, time's 1:33 in the morning. At this time I am having to switch on this tablet computer in order to do an appeal process. After spending numerous amounts of money to facilitate me to do an appeal process that is clearly being interfered with throughout, non-stop, from the start of the process to date, it has been interfered with completely. Now, being a disabled person with no representation whatsoever, I'm finding this extremely, highly stressful, and I really do think I'm running out of time completely. Now, the reason I've not got representation is of no fault of my own. I have endeavoured non-stop, and it seems to be the same behaviour developed throughout all the solicitors. And this case seems to be considered by most of the solicitors that I've asked to be, oh no, I'm not taking that case on, that's a taboo case. So I would like to know fully what the taboo circumstances are in regards to the case. Also, the severe procedural difficulties regarding this case, where I've asked non-stop for disclosure in regards to numerous different elements, being the main crux, if I being the reports received from police in order to facilitate this charge and charges that have came against myself. Today, I still have not received them properly. There was emails sent, being 10 documentations I believe, but none of them, apart from 5, would open. I have endeavoured non-stop to try and get a full copy of this. It's suggested as late as, I believe it was the 29th, that I contacted Peterhead Sheriff Clerk's office to find out what's happened with the documentation that asked to be sent. And it was basically a case of the women not being sure what takes place and whether it's been sent or not. So I highly suspect it's not been sent because I've not received anything at all. So I'm in a situation where, as late as the 30th of October, I was informed by the Sheriff Appeal Clerk that all I needed to do was send the stated case. Now, before that, through correspondence with this same clerk, I believe what he meant by stated case was I had to write everything up and put a full statement of events to the Sheriff Appeal Court. It was through reading the Active Journal and obtaining some advice from my carer, along with reading other documentation, that I discovered indeed it is a case that I need to submit information along with the stated case in which the Sheriff had written. But what was perceived on telephone communications with the Sheriff Appeal Clerk was that all that was required was the stated case, and if I do wish to present anything else, then I can do so, but it's really the Sheriff's discretion whether she takes it into account or whether he takes it into account. So, at this late hour, or early hour, depending on how you perceive it, I'm going to have to use this tablet computer which should have been lodged as productions. The last time it was on was, I believe, the 5th or 6th last month, and numerous things were going wrong with it. So I was planning on wrapping it up, using it as production and getting it analysed fully, but I have limited funding being benefit in order to get any other device. And with only a day left to go, I'm running out of time completely. I'm through numerous bodies within the agencies. I have reported non-stop the interference with the whole legal process, and it seems to have been brushed under the carpet and ignored. I've endeavoured severely to try and get to the bottom of why Royal Mail are failing to deliver, why certain emails do not arrive and timelessly, and whether these bodies receive my emails or not. Now, on doing so, it has been suggested by the Royal Mail and several Royal Mail staff workers, including the manager, that they've all been advised by a public body, an agency, when to deliver the mail and what mail to deliver, which is a high interference within the whole appeal and legal process. And that should have been dealt with straight away on me reporting it to these public bodies. Some investigations should have been put in right at the minute that informed these agencies that there's still recording to everything these people have told me. No point in telling the appeal solicitors reasons why you've asked them to withdraw, because they've failed to investigate this, and then lied to me, blatantly lied to me regarding the just-stated case and my opportunity to put in adjustments. They blatantly lied to me during that period in time, putting me under extreme pressure and extreme stress to get things done timelessly. 3 hours I was given to submit every documentation I have, to then be told I was in, and then to be told, yeah, sorry, we forgot to send that. So, but anyway, at this hour, I'm going to have to switch this tab on and get as much typed up as what I can possibly do, and just hope for the best. The way things have went, well, it's easy to assume that my best may never be good enough. I'm not legally minded, I've no lawyer. The stuff that I'm reading, I have no idea if sorry. I have no idea if I'm understanding it correctly. And at the end of the day, I've got to go on death row. And if I don't get this paperwork in, and what I'm understanding is completely wrong, it's going to be my fault that the dogs are dead.
Yes, no. My name's James. I'm Kimberly's carer. And what Kimberly's trying to say is, she's turning on a device that has been recently interfered with by trying to do the legal appeal process. She spent over £2,000 replacing tablet computers, tower computers, laptops, several phones to try and be ahead of the game to the people that's interfering with the legal appeal process. We've had it confirmed by Royal Mail that in respect of Housing and Property Chamber documents, various other documents, you need to put this on Wi-Fi right away, Kimberly. Various other documents dealing with the legal status of the appeal and the mail required for Housing and Property Chamber evictions and for this particular appeal has been interfered with. Kimberley's had a post office manager and several post office workers confirm with beyond reasonable doubt that the police, the Royal Mail only deliver the mail that the police tell them to deliver, and the Royal Mail only deliver mail that the police would wish to be delivered and when to deliver it. This seen the draft stated case, which was drafted on the 8th of March 2020, not arriving until the 17th of March 2020. When the clerk at Peterhead Sheriff Court checked it out, use the on-screen keyboard just now to get the Wi-Fi turned off, Kim.
Yeah.
So forget about the keyboard and just get the Wi-Fi turned off as fast as you can. The reason I'm suggesting that is because what Kimberly done was, after having several devices interfered with, we bought a brand new install, brand new tower computer, brand new tablet, brand new phone, brand new everything. We've paid over £200 to £300 on security software to watch it. And the very first thing that came through the devices was chug, when a message to the phone, which is an iPhone, which can't be hacked apparently, which has been protected by McAfee. And then after that, we started seeing appeal processes that just go worse and worse and worse and worse. To the point where we only had them operational for about 7 days and we had to switch everything off. And the intention was to buy new ones in order for Kimberly to seek guidance for a solicitor, either on an advice and assistance scheme, or a solicitor prepared to get involved in the case. And this was something that Kimberly's intentions was a long time ago. Have you turned, is it on Wi-Fi, aye?
No, put it up.
You need to turn the Wi-Fi off. You have. So basically, Kimberly's had no advice at all in this procedure. Where the sign stated case suggests that the appeal solicitors withdrew, they didn't. They were dismissed because of woeful reckless neglect and incompetence and just abusing Kimberly, right, left and centre. I'll let you go on with that, Kimberly, and I'll turn this off now. Right? I don't think I'm doing you any justice. Right, we've no audio recorder running, just this telephone now. The CCTV, the audio recorder's went flat and I can't find the charger for it, but we don't know where anything is. We'll be more focused on paperwork and legal stuff. Chargers. I'm going to have to phone the police back again because we're still waiting on an update as to whether PC Onderskillian and PC Riley and various,
Thank you for calling 1-1. We're connecting you to police Scotland.
whether various other officers signed this petition, which they're not allowed to do.
You're connected to police Scotland. If you have a query related to coronavirus restrictions, please refer to government guidelines.
And they don't go back in touch with us. And this is the first time we're using phones. This is the first time we're going to be using the computers. We've notified the clerk of court ordiners because we can't replace them again. So anything can be getting fired into our browsers and anything could be going on.
We can transfer you to the right person at department. You now have the following 4 options.
Pressing 4. wait for a while.
We are currently receiving a high demand for calls. If your call does not require police attendance, please refer to the Police Scotland website on www.scotland.police.uk. For guidance, you can email us via the Contact Us facility. If you wish to wait to speak to an advisor, this may be subject to significant delay. We apologise for your wait. Please continue to hold. Good evening, Police Scotland. How can I help?
Hi there, my name is James Fraser, and I'm phoning in reference to an incident that I reported 3 weeks ago. I was wondering if there had been an inquiry or an update yet, because I've got a legal document I need to produce for the 2nd. I've been given more time, and I'm needing this information for that, you see.
Yeah, I'm going to have a look for you. What's your phone number there, please?
It wasn't this phone number that I took it off, and this is a phone number I can't give. I've been on the phone to the police several times today, and I've already explained all this. This is an interfered with telephone. It's about our 6th or 7th telephone, and we can't replace it, so we're having to use it for the legal reasons. We phoned the clerk of court in Peterhead and told them, look, we're going to have to be using this phone. But as far as a call back on this phone, I wouldn't appreciate that. The police phoned me back the last time and it was just chaos. And I've still not got any update.
Okay, I'm going to struggle to find any details or get someone to contact you with an update without a phone number. That's the only thing.
Well, I'm actually waiting on the police in attendance at the moment regarding another matter. But the thing is, if you could have a look at the screen and tell me what has been done, because
So,
this,
there's nothing on my screen, so not give me any details.
I can give you my name and,
There.
yeah, it's Alpha Bravo 24 3 Juliet Juliet.
And what's the address there?
It's 78 B for Bravo, Jute Street. That's Juliet Uniform Tango Echo. And it was 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's not coming up as Duke Street, AB 24 3 Juliet Juliet. That's not.
Oh no, sorry, that's Frog Hall Terrace, sorry. It's 3 Hotel Bravo. Sorry, I apologise.
Right, okay.
It's actually the second time I've done that today.
And what was the date that you reported this?
It was 3 weeks ago. I didn't give it the date, it was 3 weeks ago. It was regarding, I believe that police officers' identities were being used on a petition site that a person I put in care for has set up regarding their dogs. I know that the politics, I know the Office of Constable inside out, and the police cannot be seen to be doing that unless it was in their own private capacity, but they couldn't speak about very much. But they've actually signed that PC Linda Skillion, PC Riley, PC... There's a different PCs, but the thing is, these PCs come from... two come from Falkirk, one comes from Peterhead, and some come from Aberdeen. And they all signed the petition.
I'm just because I can't see any calls from yourself 3 weeks ago with the address and the name that you've given me. So I'd be unable to disclose any information because I don't know what this relates to. But I've checked under the address you've given me and your name, and there's no calls from yourself to that address 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's highly irregular. We need to continue with this call and to get to the bottom of that if that's not been recorded, because that's...
But I can't see it. I can't trace anything unless you give me the phone number as well. But as I say, I've checked under the address you've given me with your name and I can't see the call. So you said
Oh, yeah, well, what I was calling for today wasn't regarding any advice regarding the issue that I'm calling you for, so I wouldn't have been told anything today.
Right.
But
Well, as I say, I can't see anything with the name and address you've given me, so you would need to maybe try and check to see when you actually reported this, or maybe consider providing the number that you phoned from so we can trace it that way. But with the information you give me just now, I'm unable to trace this, I'm afraid.
Right, well, but it should be logged and recorded there, eh? Because you
As
see,
I say, with the information you've given me, I can't find it. It's not to say it's not there. It needs to be logged elsewhere, but I wouldn't be able to trace it. It's not coming up under the address
That
you've
was
given me or
confirmed
the
by
name
a
that you've given
sergeant.
me.
Kimberly's sitting saying to me that a sergeant says to her that you didn't need a phone number to confirm anything. Name and address is going to, it will still take you to the same place. The phone number will be there. But if you're saying to me there's not a record of that,
I've checked with the address you've given me and the name you've given me, that I can't see any calls from yourself to that address 3 weeks ago.
right?
So you
Well,
need to speak to someone to just
I need to report that then, because that's a failure to record, report, and investigate crime. It's a
It's not, it's just that if you've reported it, it will be somewhere. I just can't see under the address details you've given me, and I'm unable to trace it without any further details, such as your phone number or anything, because then I can check and see that you've logged under a different address, but I wouldn't be able to trace it any further for you
There's
the information that you've given me.
give me 2 seconds. Do you know where the details is? The phone number of the books. Dear. There's a books with the phone number for 3 weeks ago on it.
Yeah.
I just need to open my safe up then to get a book. No, that's not the right key.
Just try and find it.
James,
Aye.
who's in the back then with you?
That's really irrelevant, but that's the lassie I put in care for. She's a
Well,
terrible
I'm trying
story.
to establish if it's made. Is there a chance that she called to report it?
No.
As long as her details, that's what I'm at.
No, it was me that reported it. I'm just getting the padlocks off a safe. I've got a book in there with the details about the phone numbers were 3 weeks ago.
Did you provide a phone number at the time?
I don't know. I didn't ken. I've really no idea.
Right, James, so is the best thing to do, I can't confirm anything about any details from, without any details from you. I need information with some ID in order for them to trace it. But with the limited information you're giving me, I can't trace it in our system, I'm afraid. Alright.
Sorry, he's just trying to get the number. He has informed you that over 3 times now. If you could just bear with us, we'll get a number for you. Thank you.
Too much dereliction and bloody duty in that cop shop, man. I mean, I consider the data protection controller needs to be notified if you've got all that data under my name. But I've got the telephone number here now. I just need to find my glasses. Right, got there. And the number 3 weeks ago was, I think it was
Okay, I can see a call from yourself from that number 3 weeks ago. It doesn't seem to relate with what you've told me though. You were saying that somebody was trying to climb out the windows.
climb out the windows.
That's what you've reported.
I've not reported any, but can you give me further detail on that then? Because this
No,
is
that's what
very,
you've
you've got
reported
to,
tonight,
listen, you can give me it. I am James Fraser.
That's all the information. Alright, you said you were a carer, you were requesting police for a female trying to climb out the window, and then you hung up the phone.
That's a completely different issue, but I didn't say she was trying to climb out a window. I'd asked her to come in
You've
assistance.
given me that number, that's the call I can see with that number. Alright?
Right. Well, we'll have a look at another one then, because didn't understand why it's not coming up on my name. Can you?
All I can ask you, are you sure that maybe the person that you care for didn't phone?
Oh, listen, let's make it completely clear, right? I know who I am, and I know I called you. Right, no, there's no help in this, this frustrating issue. It's this frustrating issue. But the girl's nothing to do with it. If you can just keep the girl out of it. Now, listen.
Maybe understand what I'm asking you though. I'm saying to you that I can't see anything from that address from your name 3 weeks ago. I'm asking you if there's a possibility the person you cared for phoned about this 3 weeks ago.
And I understood that on the 4 occasions you mentioned it, and I'm asking you for the third time not to involve the girl because she's nothing to do with it. Or the instance, or the incident. You're not helping me with that though. You're laboriously frustrating me, you really are. I'm trying to tell you, look, I know I called you 3 weeks ago, right? The telephonist, the centre there. And under the Data Protection Act, you'll need to tell me what that call was all about. And that call was all about me complaining about PC constables signing petitions, and I believed that their identities had been falsified, and we were getting set up for this. Now you're telling me that under this address, and this sorry.
You'll need to present at a station with some ID because I'm unable to trace this for you, alright? I can't give you
All
an update, I
stations are
can't trace
closed to
the
public.
information you're giving me.
Why should I inform
Maybe
you
you're
to
just,
go to a
if you don't know
station?
the exact date, maybe you're just getting confused with the dates. But I
No, I'm
can't
not
trace
confused with the
information
dates,
you're
and
giving me.
I'm not.
You need to present
Listen,
at a station with
right.
some ID to ask an officer there to assist you.
Well, I'm
alright?
going to disagree with that, and I'm going to tell you the reason why, right? One is I'm not confused about any date at all, because the petition has the date on it. It's exactly 3 weeks ago today. Well, it'll be the first. 3 weeks ago the day would be the 7th. It's easy to take 21 days, 3 weeks off of the 28th.
I've asked you several times for the date.
Yeah, and I says it was 3 weeks ago. If somebody says that to me, I'd calculate. Well, well, this is the problem that we've got now, is we've...
I imagine that you've got given some other details that will be elsewhere, but with the information you've given me, I can't trace it on our system. You'll need to be sent to a station with some ID, alright? Because I'm unable to trace it unless you maybe find further details that will assist you with tracing it on our side.
Right, so let's make this clear, right? I called you 3 weeks ago, which would have been the 7th, the 10th, 2020. I made a call and I got a call back, so it should be on the computer that police officers called me back.
So it will be somewhere on the computer, but I am unable to trace it with the information that you're giving me.
But why, this is my name and
I cannot
address.
assist you any further. Pardon?
This is my name and address.
I know. I've looked under your name and address that you've given me. You've given me a couple of addresses with the incorrect postcode as well.
Now, I don't give you a couple of addresses, I gave you an incorrect postcode, which was a previous address, and I corrected that. Yeah, because I had a laborious day with telephonists for Police Scotland. A real laborious day today with telephonists for Police Scotland. Now, that if you can please be quiet to let you understand my position now. Okay? You're sitting saying that it might go on the computer, but you can't get access to it. I would like to now speak to your data controller, right? You've got to put me in touch with your data protection controller, because there seems to be, apparently, which appears to be, a breach of the Data Protection Act. Because under I am legally identified in Scotland and in the UK with my name, my date of birth and my detailed address, which you have got a copy of. The Police Service of Scotland has that. That's what identifies me in the UK, not a telephone number.
I understand that, and I've checked under the name and address you've given me, and there's no calls from yourself 3
Right.
weeks ago. If you've called to report something, it will have been logged. I imagine that it will be possibly maybe mistakenly given a different address or a phone number or something, and that's why I
No.
can't trace it. But the address and name you've given me is not on our system.
Okay.
You still either need to try and clarify what information you've given, or if the station is here with some ID.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, thank you. Bye-bye.
She's just lied to me completely. I was told by a sergeant it doesn't matter about what address you give
Mm-hmm.
or what phone number you give.
Mm-hmm.
It goes under your name. Because you could be homeless. Then you could literally have no phone and you could be homeless. phone them up asking for help and assistance. Only goes under their name and
Thank you
date
for
of birth.
calling 101. We're connecting you to Police Scotland. If you require an alternative force, you're connected to Police Scotland. If you have a query related to coronavirus restrictions, please refer to government guidelines.
Where did we get the phone number? A few weeks ago.
Matter. We are currently receiving a high demand call. If your call is a police emergency, please redial using 999. If it's a non-emergency, you can refer to Police Scotland's website or wait for your call to be answered by the next available advisor.
In order that we can translate the right person or department, you now have
Pressing four.
Please press 1 for lost
What's she going on about? Maybe you're confused about dates and you're maybe confused it was somebody else that wrote it. What's she trying to fucking say I'm confused for?
Good evening, Police Scotland. Louise speaking. How can I help?
Hi Louise, I've just been on to Police Scotland and I disagree with the telephonist's advice. Right?
Okay.
Kimberly and myself was told by a sergeant that we could be, like, I've just phoned up with an incident that I reported exactly 3 weeks ago the day. So any competent person would work out that that was the 7th to the 10th. Right? Now, on the 7th to the 10th, I reported an instance and police officers called us back and that was a disaster. Right, I've got all that recorded and it's subject to a complaint. But tonight, I've phoned up to try and get an update for it because I have got to assist a girl with disability in a sheriff appeal case for the 2nd, and we're waiting on this information, you see. So I explained to this woman that I answered the phone. She was very competent and very fast and very speedy, and she got through things really, really fast, but she kept on talking at the top of me, and I can't cope with that. I really can't cope with that. And then she was asking me if I was confused about the dates, and then was I confused maybe it was somebody else that phoned up, but it wasn't me. Now I'm not going to be treated like that. Right? Now, my name is James Fraser, my date of birth, and the police have my address. Now that's enough to get access to the data on the computer pertaining to me. And the reason we know that is because when we made a complaint about this kind of behaviour for the police telephonist before to the sergeant, right, the sergeant turned around and told us, he goes, that's nonsense. He goes, you could be homeless, you could have no name, you could have no address, you could have no telephone number, and we'll still be able to trace you. But I've just been told that, and then when I asked to get put through to the lass's data control officer, because that's something that I'm naturally entitled to next, if I feel there's been a breach of the Data Protection Act and a contravention section 22 of the Police and Fire Reform Scotland Act, where there's a failure to record crime, report and investigate crime, because apparently there's nothing here. Now what the bigger picture is the incident that I reported was police constables had signed a petition, which I know they can't do, right? So I reported that as somebody having stolen their identity, and I believed that we were getting set up for this. And now it turns out, it appears, right, there's no record of it. Now, I'm really anxious now. I need to know why there's not a record of that, and that only the the data control officer, who is 24/7 in your centre, can tell me that. What's wrong with your computers that you can't get the instance from the 7th to the 10th, 2020, with my name, my address, and my date of birth? This one tried to convince me that the only way I could be identified was by this thing could be traced by my telephone number, and I need to present myself at a police station, which you can't do because of COVID-19 up here.
Okay. What is the best contact number for yourself, Mr. Fraser?
There isn't one. This is a telephone that I'm not. This telephone has been intercepted and hacked, and it's part of Legal Productions. But because we can't replace another telephone, because we've replaced about 3 laptops, God knows how many tablets, and about 5 or 6 telephones, as have been repeatedly hacked through a legal challenge. Now, within the legal challenge, there's all sorts of anomalies popping up on petition sites and Facebook sites, and we're getting the blame for that. And as we're reporting it to the police, it's now turning out that you've no record of me reporting that. So I'm wanting to see if there's been a further breach of Section 22 of the Police and Fire Reform Scotland Act, and I want to know if there's been a breach of the Data Protection Act. And this woman just rattled on, and then tried to question me whether I was confused about the dates. I mean, come on, if you phone me up and say to me, I spoke to you 3 weeks ago, and blah, 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 and I say to you, are you sure it was you that spoke to me? Was it not somebody else? What would you think about me? You'd think I was absolutely nuts for even posing the question to you.
Can I take your address?
Aye, it's 78B for Bravo, Jute Street. That's Juliet Uniform Tango Echo. And that's Aberdeen.
Did officers come to see you at that address when you reported the incident?
No, they had telephoned me on the number that I can't present and I can't give.
That's fine. Yeah,
Right.
that's fine.
And the call was terrible. I first got a call through and I was looking to speak to cyber unit, cyber crime and different things and get through to the officers themselves on the radios, because the amount of times I've been put through to the officers' radio right there direct because they're online and they can talk to me at that time, right straight to that happens every day on the planet. But for me, for this legal challenge started, we can't get a hold of the officer, we'll need to email them and get you to email you back, we'll get them to phone you back. I've had 2 years of that. Nobody gets back in touch with me. No one. I knew what I found out is the record that I recorded last 3 weeks ago, the phone call that I made, you have got no awareness of that. And I now need to present myself to a police station. But where?
Do you know the number that you made the complaint with? Like from before?
Not entirely
Do you know
sure.
what number you used at that time? Right.
Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure at all.
Just give me a wee second and I'll have a wee look to see. So do you know what time you reported it at?
It was, I believe it was AM.
Okay, so in the morning. And the nature of the complaint was about hacking of your phone and Facebook position and the police officers either signing it or stolen identification.
Aye, I was there reporting a hacking of the phone. That's something that I've monitored, and I've got software and I've got different things monitoring that. And we've got cracking evidence who is actually intercepting what and why. And we're letting it run. We're just letting it run because it's all going to ability suspension at the High Court, everything. But for the moment, I need to be updated. I mean, 3 weeks is too long to wait on. And the thing is, because I've not had the telephone and I couldn't replace the telephone, to get in touch with this legal process again, I had to contact Peterhead Sheriff Court today. So I've contacted the clerk, Tracy MacDonald, and I've explained, and I also explained to a sheriff deputy, I think she was, don't know her name, that this was an intercepted phone that was wrapped up in production to be forensically analysed, but I'm having to use it again because I can't afford to replace it. So they've accepted that and understood that there could still be interceptions between interference with emails and telephone calls and stuff like that, because they've identified problems in the past as well in the communication of the legal challenge, which is completely illegal. But what I did report 3 weeks ago, it wasn't the hacking of the phone, no. I'd reported that there was a potential attempt to make it look like it was us that had used police officers' identities to sign this petition. Now, the crazy thing about it is, I know all the police officers apart from one name, Andy something I don't recognise, but he did the sign at PC. But every other PC I can recognise, and there are a couple from Falkirk, right, 240 miles away. There's one in Peterhead, and there's a couple in Aberdeen. And a Detective Sergeant Andrew Barclay is suggesting that he signed it. Now, when I seen that, right, you think to yourself, well, police constables know they can't sign things like that, the politics of things, they can't get involved. But should a couple of constables have made a mistake, then you wouldn't have two in Falkirk, one in Peterhead and one in Aberdeen, all day signing the petition at the same time. So that was the nature of my understanding of the complaint. I was saying, look, I know that two constables in Falkirk and one in Peterhead, 240 miles away, and 30 miles away in Aberdeen, a detective sergeant then decides to sign the petition. It's an absolute nonsense. It's a nonsense. So
It's definitely the officers, it's not somebody with a similar name or anything, just to clarify.
no, because I've signed at PC, and
Right.
Detective Sergeant is Andrew Barclay at Aberdeen. He's no signed it. None of these constables have signed this, right? But
Somebody else
as
has put their
I,
names on it.
and I'm trying to get an update. And when the police constable phoned me back, dealing with it, it was just complete incompetence. And I complained, and then this other woman came on, and she apologised for this woman's behaviour, and she apologised for the way I'd been spoken to, and she dealt with me competently, and she said she would look in it and get back to us. And for the last 3 weeks we've had no telephone for it to get back to us on, because we had wrapped this particular telephone up for production. We've currently got three tablets. I don't know how many hard drives, gone back 13 years, where we have noticed as our internet getting interfered with back to back at every address. So we've put screen records on at these times, we've put HD cameras on, like just now to make this telephone call, there's CCTV, there's an audio recorder, and there's a camera running. So nobody can accuse me of cutting and editing anything, you know, everything is simultaneously running at the same time. And what I find tonight is a quite a pedantic way of talking to me, and trying to discover whether I'm confused, whether I'm deluded, whether I'm, you know, maybe needing sectioned. You know, that's the kind of approach this woman seemed to have been having. And that seems to be a desire of the Police Service of Scotland to cover up a hell of the abuse that's took place over the last 13 to 15 years. Right? Now we are going to take to the Scottish Minister to court for failure to act. I'm taking the Chief Constable to court for a failure to act, in which is hate crimes, disability discrimination and organised crime, by definition of the Criminal Justice Licence Scotland Act. And we have got the hard copy proof evidence, crucial evidence that's recognised in law. And nobody's going to take it. Nobody wants it.
I think I might have found the incident that you're referring to. Can I ask what the petition was in regards to, just to confirm I've got the right incident?
Aye, it's a petition for Cole and Toby to save their lives, basically.
Right, okay. Right, yeah. I've got the incident on here, it's recorded as having been reported on the 8th of the 10th.
The 8th of the 10th.
So, and there is a different address that I've got here, so I don't know if it's maybe a partner's address or if it's...
Well, the possible addresses could be Frockhall Terrace, which is EB2, is it?
That's correct. So, that's what was given at the time of the incident. So, I think maybe they just had searched under a different address, perhaps, and that's why it had come up.
I'd sort of mistakenly given the Frockhall Terrace postcode to begin with.
No, not to worry. So, what I'll do is I'll email the officers who were dealing with that and ask them to get in contact with you. Is there an email address they can take, or you can
I've got nothing.
by phone, or...
No, I've got nothing. I've spent about £2,500 in the last 8 weeks to 3 months recovering and putting into production mere devices as I repeatedly get hacked. And there we go. We hadn't been on the petition site for months. We stood off Facebook, we stood off social networking for months and months and months. And the minute our browsers connect with the petition site again, the browser has been protected by McAfee. There's also autopsy running, and I'm getting a licensed police forensic officer independently to do the forensics. He's a personal friend of mine. And somebody has suggested to me that the autopsy that I've done on the machines, which is a piece of software that is legitimised for the courts will accept the printouts for these particular pieces of software, and I've ran the software and it came to a grinding halt. And a friend of mine's told me, he goes, when you find that kind of thing happening with that kind of software, you're normally up against police keys. So where we've got this, apparently it's a crazy idea, right? But where we've got hard solid proof, the police interfering with us, letting agents, landlords, every address. We even caught a landlord out today, a cracker. Seriously. Honestly, I'm not going about it, but we caught a new landlord that Kimberley's only had for a matter of weeks, coming out with the same modus operandi, the same behaviour, the same a la mode, and saying the very same things. And what I tried to say was, I've looked in the windows and I can see a lot of damage to my property, so I want you out. We'll just call it a day. If you just take your property and go. Now, this is a very polite, mannerable man that I've spoken to in the past, but what I hadn't realised was I'd been buying law books at his bookshop, and the police went in at the back of me one day, and then after that the man wouldn't speak to me. He was very despondent towards me. He wouldn't get me any more law books, and he basically was going to walk me back in the shop. So the Kimberley noticed he had advertised a flat. He didn't know Kimberley, so we set him up. Kimberley then went and rented the flat. Kimberley met all the neighbours, found out all the information she could about the guy, found out the last 5-year history of the flat, and today, yesterday Kimberley got a wee note through the door asking for permission to enter the address so he could pick up some property from a locked cupboard that he's got some property in. I answered the call and I says to him, look, I'll meet you along there, quite happy to do that. And he goes, well, actually, he goes, I want you out because I've been looking through the windows and there's a lot of damage to the property and I'm not happy with things and right? He goes on and on. I wait for a wee while and I say to him, look, listen, I've only identified you as as part of this organised crime unit that seems to be operating against us up here, right? And he went, what, right? And I told him about the last 17 landlords we've had. We've told him about what the last 17 landlords have said and done towards us. But we didn't tell him how many landlords had actually came back and said, sorry, it was the police that was behind it, right? And we've not told the police that either. That's for the High Court. On action against the Chief Constable. But what I'm saying is this man today had to come off the phone saying, I have to go. It's my heart. And that's how he got off the phone. And what I was asking him was, you're saying that you're looking through windows and you've seen damage to the property. I told him that was the modus operandi that every letting agent was coming out with and claiming and everything against us. Even though we improve properties, every property we upgrade it. And the neighbours tell us that, great. The neighbours here are busy saying, fantastic. The neighbours at the other property are saying, fantastic what you've done to the place. We're glad you've got the smell out the flat. Kimberly spent £340 in cleaning fluids trying to clean the place and it's still stinking.
Commendable.
Yes, but...
Can I ask what I can do for you?
Aye.
I think that's really commendable, but I'm not sure if there's anything I can do to help you with that at this time. Is there anything I can do in regards to the incident that you are looking for an update?
Aye, I'm really needing to know if there's a report on the screen as to whether these constables have... I mean, I know, I'm asking you for something that I know's not there. Whether they did sign a petition, or whether they didn't sign a petition, and if no, is there an investigation into checking out IP addresses, MAC addresses, because it should be easily linked. It should be easy for the cybercrime unit down in Larbert, near Falkirk, to discover all of this. This could have been done in a day. I mean, I know police forensic but he's a police forensic. He's called a forensic hacker. He's a licensed forensic hacker, but he also does police forensics. He actually writes the software for use. He's written all your software for use to hack into phones and for use to hack into everything else.
How can I put officers in contact with you with an update from this if I haven't got a number for you? What would you suggest?
Well, if you can see when the officers are next on duty and they could call along at the house.
Right, so you're happy for them to call along, and that would be at the 78B Street
Yeah.
address?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right.
No,
I'll pass that message on to the officers then and ask them to speak with you at your address then, okay?
that's great, but how we could kill two birds with one stone. I'm currently waiting on police and attendants just now. Now, it doesn't look like they're going to be attending tonight. It might be tomorrow. Now, if it could just be one set of police officers with a full update, everything that was going on, that would be great. But if the four of them need to arrive, then that's okay as well. But for the second day, well, no for a second, for today, for tomorrow, I really need to have an update on the information. And I'm sorry I can't provide an email or a telephone number. But I'm trying to limit what this phone does, because I know whilst this telephone is on, there's other activity in the browser. I know there's other activity going on.
Right. I'll pass that on to the officers and I'll ask them to get in contact with you when they're next on shift, okay?
Can you tell me when that'll be? Because that could be next week.
I don't. I'm afraid I can't give out the times of officer shift. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to do that. Can I ask if you're suffering any COVID symptoms at all, or cold fever or change in taste or smell?
Nothing at all. We've got all the testing kits. We've got a mini hospital in this house.
Okay.
If you cross COVID-19 with OCG, then you've got a spotless house. Honestly, if you collapse in my house, I've got a better chance of saving you than the NHS.
Okay, that's fine. Right, I'll pass that on then. Thanks so much for phoning in.
Right.
I'll get officers to get in contact with you as soon as I can, okay?
Right, thanks very much for your help and thanks for finding that, eh? Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for
Thank you.
phoning.
Bye.
Bye.
The next item of business is a statement by Michael Matheson on community justice in Scotland. The Cabinet Secretary will take questions at the end of his statement, and so there should be no interventions or interruptions. I call on Michael Matheson. Cabinet Secretary, 15 minutes or thereabouts, please.
Presiding Officer, in the summer I launched this Government's vision and priorities for justice in Scotland, which laid out our intention to adopt a more progressive, evidence-based approach, supported by partners across the justice sector and beyond. This approach underpins our determination to ensure that we live in safe, cohesive and resilient communities. In the programme for Government published last week, we pledged to extend the presumption against short sentences to 12 months. This announcement was welcomed by former Justice Secretaries across the political spectrum who recognise that the time has come to adopt a more progressive and transformative perspective. It is a commitment consistent with our drive to create a more progressive, evidence-based justice system. This very week marks the 20th anniversary of the devolution referendum. In the intervening years, this Parliament has done great things, and members across the Chamber can feel really proud of their achievements. One area in which we have made little progress is that of penal reform. In 1999-2000, the average daily prison population across Scotland's prisons was less than 6,000. During 2015-16, that figure was more than 7,600. That means that since the inception of this Parliament, we have witnessed an increase of nearly 30% in the number of people locked up on any given day. We know that short prison sentences do little to rehabilitate people or to reduce the likelihood of their reoffending. We know that short-term imprisonment disrupts families and communities and adversely affects employment opportunities and stable housing. The very things that evidence shows support desistance from offending. We know that this is both a poor use of public resources and a waste of human potential. There will always be cases in which the courts rightly take the view that a prison sentence is absolutely justified. But for those individuals who do end up in custody, we need to think beyond just bricks and mortar. That change is part of the rationale behind our plans for the female custodial estate. In July, I witnessed the start of demolition work on Compton Vale Prison. The Scottish Prison Service have now commenced the planning and public consultation process for the creation of its replacement. Although located on the existing site of Compton Vale, it will provide an entirely new approach for the custodial care of around 80 women. This new facility will run using therapeutic community principles and will incorporate gender-specific and trauma-informed practice.